So, beloveds, there has been a pattern. I don't know if you've picked up on it. You've heard a fair amount in these last few weeks. Jackie reframed God. Amanda reframed Jesus. Ben reframed forgiveness. Do you see it? Surprise, we snuck in a little bit of a series on you in these last weeks of the summer. So what kind of reframing do you think I will do? Well, seeing as how this is an extra canonical text and you all know the work that I do with these texts, it is a safe bet to assume that my reframing will be around the canon. But as this text teaches, there is more to the story. Recognize, this ancient writer writes, what is right in front of your face and what is hidden will be revealed to you. So let's start doing some digging into the Gospel of Thomas. This text is one of those found in the Nag Hammadi collection. That's the one that was found by some Egyptian farmers back in 1945. And the person who took it home, his mom used it for kindling. You all remember that? If not, catch up on some previous episodes on YouTube. We don't know who the ancient author is, though the prologue has the author claiming to be Thomas, more specifically, Judas Thomas, aka the twin. But when we apply what this pericope teaches, when we recognize what is right in front of our noses, what is hidden is indeed revealed. For we know in this ancient context that other people who had some leadership or notoriety were important to the community, the culture, context group, etc., their names were often put at the top of documents as the authors. And it's sometimes done out of honor. It's sometimes done out of a means of hopefully convincing a community to take the words on the page more seriously. I'm sure you can probably think of a few more reasons if you give yourself a few minutes, but what is further revealed when we recognize this detail right in front of us is that this happened to other texts as well. I imagine the Gospels of Matthew, Mark, Luke, John were named as such out of honor, whereas about 6 of the 13 books in the New Testament attributed to Paul are widely disputed by scholars as not being written by him. And some of those texts, surprise, surprise, have some of the most toxic theology that we still battle today. Suffer not a woman to teach? Hi, 1 Timothy, I see you, boo. Slaves, obey your masters. Okay, Ephesians. Recognize what's right in front of you as the Gospel of Thomas teaches. Lets us see what is hidden. I imagine someone will stumble across this sermon on YouTube because of its title, and they get to that last part that I just said, and their minds are blown. By practicing what this ancient text teaches, we see the context behind the naming of multiple books in the canon. We understand why it might have happened. What was hidden is revealed. It allows us a different perspective when we look back over our justice journeys, when we look back over what our lives have been, what has happened to us, what we've participated in, when we look back at our own spirituality and how it has been shaped, how it's evolved, how we've grown, when we connect it to the earliest followers of the way. It allows us to rethink ideas that have been handed down to us, things we hadn't looked at for ourselves to see what secrets were hidden therein. Maybe, beloveds, it's bigger than the book. Maybe there's more to the story. Think with me now about a time when you looked at something, really gave it some time and attention, and it turned out to be completely different than what you thought. Some of you have stories of how you experienced church when you were little, how you left it behind because of how you were treated or because of something you were taught to believe. But you kept your eye on it. And your closer examination, your recognizing what was right in front of your face, revealed what had been hidden by these communities. You saw the love of God for what it was, not for what people had tried to paint it to be. You saw the revolutionary teachings of Jesus that leads to a path where everyone has enough, where we all live a life more abundantly, where love is love, where we watch out for our neighbors, where we recognize the stewardship of Mother Nature as much as we recognize our stewardship of her, You were looking at the same thing you'd always seen, always known, but your attention to it, your commitment to learning led you to something different. It led you to middle. Take even our church fire as an example. Some people looked at that fire and saw an ending. We looked at that fire and saw what was hidden in the rubble. A church that was bigger than walls or buildings. A church that had become a national and international movement of spirit and love and justice. Oh, church, if you will only look at what is right in front of you, what is revealed? An ordinary example from this weekend with Trouble Clef Perkins, my genius daredevil puppy. Trouble is now 4 months old and has, pretty much figured out the potty training thing, but still has a few accidents here and there. And I sometimes feel like his favorite thing to do is water my area rug. That rug, fam, has taken a beating as a result of my new roommate. You see, my carpet has longer pile, kind of like shag carpeting, and he pulls at the individual strands until they give way, chews on that strand for about 5 seconds, and moves on to the next strand. Besides 6 weeks of watering, my poor rug now has bald spots. It will not survive him. So I bought a beautiful little gate that stretches the entire width of my apartment. And I generally allow him a little stretch of carpet, so I put this little accordion fence behind the ottoman, so he has this little patch of rug that is, all that's accessible, but most of the carpet out of reach. This beautiful gate arrived on Thursday, and I put it up Thursday night. He played and sniffed at it a couple times where he'd usually dart to the other area, and I wrote my sermon in peace, knowing he was where he was supposed to be. Oh, but then Friday morning came. On Friday, the puppy was bright-eyed and bushy-tailed. He barked at this new fence. He let his displeasure at the boundary be known. He caused a ruckus. And then he was quiet. I thought he had finally given up and had gone on to something else. I thought he was chewing on a toy. But I have learned in the 6 weeks that I've had a puppy that when the puppy gets quiet, it is best to go check in on him just to make sure everything is okay. I looked around and I couldn't see him. I don't have a big apartment, so I thought, oh, that's strange. Where could he have gone? All of the other doors in the apartment were closed, so I knew he wasn't in another room. Finally, I got up from my seat where I was writing my sermon to look a little closer. And sure enough, Trouble was resting comfortably on the other side of the fence and the ottoman. He looked up at me as if to say, of course this is where I am. I still am trying to figure out how he got over there. I have no idea how he managed this. I think actually last night he gave me a clue. I think he's a higher jumper than I think he is. So the ottoman is not tall enough. This is an example on both sides of putting into practice what this ancient teaching from a book of Jesus sayings is telling its ancient audience, and what we can take with us today. For there is an old saying that there is nothing new under the sun. Recognize, the text says, what is right in front of you, and what is hidden will be revealed to you. For there is nothing hidden that will not be revealed. All I had to do was take a closer look at what was right in front of me, and what was hidden was revealed. Now, on the other side, all Trouble had to do was keep looking at what was right in front of him. He took what he first saw as an insurmountable problem and made it a fun challenge. He did the same thing with his travel tote the next day. I zipped it closed for a 10-minute appointment, only to have him solve the zipper in 7. He figured out the blockades I have protecting my shoes. Yeah, he's a diabolical genius, that one. It shows me that this ancient teaching from a collection of Jesus' sayings is universal. Keep looking, Jesus encourages. Keep looking. It's right there if you keep looking. Now, some of you who have been watching and paying attention for a long while now just noticed something new, something different in how I just said that. Usually when I talk about our ancient text, I always call back to the writer of the ancient text. And this time I referred to Jesus saying it, Jesus encouraging us, not the ancient author paints Jesus as, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But here is another moment of revelation. While I maintain that it is pretty impossible to know what things Jesus actually said that are recorded in our ancient texts, both the canon and the extra-canonical text, this one is pretty special. The latter half of this pericope, for there is nothing hidden that will not be revealed, shows up in multiple texts. This reveals something to us. We can assert that Jesus maybe did actually say this. The odds are greater that Jesus actually, in fact, did say it. You find it in Luke 12:2. Nothing is covered up that will not be uncovered, and nothing secret will become known. In Matthew 10:26, so have no fear for them, for nothing is covered up that will not be uncovered, and nothing secret that will not become known. In the Gospel of Thomas, a few verses later, for all things are revealed before the presence of heaven. In Luke 8:17, for nothing is hidden that will not be disclosed, nor anything secret that will not become known and come to light. In Mark 4:22, for there is nothing except to be disclosed, nor is anything secret except to come to light. Bam! It is an ancient Easter egg. Keep looking. Jesus is calling out. Keep looking. That, beloved, is the hidden secret of the Bible. Our texts are layered, and the truth is there within the layers. One of my seminary professors, Dr. Thetamanol, said in one of our classes, "It is not true because it's in the Bible. It's in the Bible because it's true." You find these universal truths all over. You find them in every religion calling out, keep looking. Jesus is calling out what is a universal truth that even my pet knows. Keep looking, keep seeing, and you will find the secrets. For as the old folks used to quote from Ecclesiastes, ain't nothing new under the sun. You will find what has been hidden, it will become known, it will be revealed. And if you dare step up to the challenge of doing this work, you will, as Philippians says, work out your own salvation with fear and trembling. In Jesus' name, amen.